biking ya ntha ya mmereko yone mo ngwageng wa 2025 mme ja ka o bona pula e nele ditlhare tsa rona di ditala re itumetse hela gore nyame ngwaga o re tla re limile re jele ebile re bone pula e re thalang re e rapella. Welcome to the show. The name of the show is ADUMELA Botswana Breakfast Show, proudly sponsored by Botswana Post on a Thursday morning. And of course, I'm never alone on the red chair, taking us through the week and taking me, holding my hand through it all. Hi, LB.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Gorgeous as ever. What's happening?
Thank you. Right, television. The face should be, decent.
Decent. Looking good. As much as possible.
Exactly. Motswana ko lapeng re a lebogela gore bo tsogile le rona mo mosong wa gompieno. Ame maina ke le boa LB Morenja kana le di asatsa go bua. Ke rena ba ile go ra go tsosa mo bekeng ye. It is a Thursday. We are quarter to the weekend. Me a re sa ha itse gore re batlang weekend ba gaitso. Ke gone la re tswang holiday go batla re ntse re tsentse dithogo re theogetse and re theogela hela ka tsela ntseng jalo mo mosong wa gompieno re go tlela tsone di khantse ile gore di iragala mo lehatsheng la rona. And I'm very excited in that there's a lot going on in the world.
There's a lot going on. Lots of conversations happening, and it's like we took a whole break, and then now someone is and we're all just jumping onto it at once. So yes, I'm hoping that rona hela ka kwana re tla tshwarela ha re tshwarela nteng re thuisa ha re thuisa nteng gore as re ntse re tsama bo lehatsheng le be re itse gore nyame we are taking the right steps.
100%. This week, we are trending. You're talking about the issues at GBV, the statistics that came out this week. And I think this is why this is the perfect conversation we're going to have. The second interview that we're going to have. This is a television show. It's a team of a group, an organization. Behavior change through education.
Okay.
Makhabaneng is joining us this morning to come and talk a little bit about the history of Makhabaneng. What does it say 2025, especially now in the time where behavior change is very necessary. We've been talking about mindset change. Now I think specifically when it comes to issues of gender-based violence, issues of but
I see a difference in change. Like once we have an open conversation, slowly but surely there is some change that we see with certain things, and I'm very hopeful that this conversation just opens up more conversations where we can change the way we do things.
100%.
And for me, we're gonna have I'm excited for this, but I'm sure a lot of people won't be excited for this, but it's a very important conversation. Just reminding you that knowledge is power. Knowing is a lot of information helps you navigate a lot of very hard decisions or very hard situations that may scare you, that are driven by fear. Today we are talking to snake consultants. As we see, I saw the face, Albi. That is the face that I'm expecting from everybody. But hear me out, right? There is a lot of, a lot of bugs, a lot of rodents, a lot of food for snakes. So you find them coming out of they are animals. So this is the time they would be feeding a lot. And unfortunately, we do find them what are the safe ways and safe measures to take as far as identifying what snake it is, making sure that you are safe, your children are safe, your animals are safe in your household, how to handle a snake in your household. So we will have a managing director. When you find yourself in that situation, conversation So how do you better navigate it for your safety? So it's a safety control measure.
I am very excited to learn about snakes. Hopefully I don't bump into one, and hopefully you don't either. Me itla re ntse re tsweletse ka re Botswana a batla gore simolela thulaganyo ya rona a re neela tsa metshameko ke batla go mo utlwa gore a re mo Liverpool a tsala ya be ba letse ba jelwe maabane ebile ha ka baka ke gompeno ke a mo itsela a nne ready a gore tlhalosetsa gore ga te go iragalang ko Liverpool. We continue talking about all things football, tennis, basketball, and in between with our daily sports update, but we start the day off with fitness.
All right, when it comes to fitness, we make sure that our goals are consistent throughout the year. That means every single morning, la ntse le mo lapeng ya lo itshidile mmele tsatsi leno Daniel Moengwe ka go rona ka ha o re tshwaretse some leg exercises, so check this out.
I'm your instructor for today, and these are my lovely assistants, I should say. We're going to do some exercises this morning. Just to start off the winter season, exercise intensity. Going to do your legs, because the one mistake many people make, they go up and down without fully contracting your quads, okay? Your quads, which is here, all right? So, legs apart, sort of facing that way, because I want us to target your outer quad and the teardrop, okay? And obviously the glutes, which is going to be the buttocks, I guess, yeah? Okay, so you look forward. So when you're squatting, always pretend there is a wall behind you, okay? So I don't want to see you doing this, kind of doing this, okay? You make sure that your back is leaned against the wall, you're straight, and as you go up, you contract your quads and squeeze, okay? So you don't do this, but you contract so that maoto agago a bereke, right? Yeah? You don't need weight. Even in the comfort of your home, you can do this hella effective. Okay, are you ready? In 3, 2, 1, let's go down. 1, and contract. Squeeze. 2, squeeze. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's good. How does that feel? Feels good, huh? Okay, now I want us to work more of the hamstring and still on the teardrop and the glutes. So that we reverse lunge. So reverse lunge, same thing applies. Your back, make sure it's leaned against the imaginary wall. Don't lean forward, okay? So it's 1, you bring the knee down and back. 2, you bring the knee down and back. Okay, I lost the balance there. All right, are you ready? Let's look at your right leg, okay? Let's go. In 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Bring the knee down. 1, back. 2, make sure you control your breathing. 3, 4, 5. So make sure you bring the knee down. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. Shake it off. Shake it off. Or doing a jump squat. Okay? I don't want us to jump too high. I just want us to do this. Because we want every person who is paying a exercise like it. It doesn't need you to jump as high as us, but you can jump. Yeah? Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1, and let's go. 1, up. 2, up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. Shake it off. Just shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. All right. Now we're going to finish it off with a bit of abs, but at the same time is stretching. Okay? So you need to stretch, you need to make sure your muscles, especially after each exercise you do at home. Okay?
Mothatso madume ke tse sebaka se ke go dumedisa be go amogela mo go tsa metshameko ke bua karabo miske bo sena ga reng gatleng gore ta lebella mo tsatsi la boner ta buisana jalo le manamisa mahoko ba le go tala Botswana Table Tennis Association ba ileng gore ba khonne gore ba ntsha jalo da year calendar gore ba ta ba ememe ya mongwageng ono ga reng ga tse dingwe tse re ta lebella stapa sa rena sa tennis ba emela jalo ka ba le ba ka kona Namibia ele jalo aba junior team mme re go be mo dinakong ya ka motsela ma ba ne re letse re bua jalo ka squash re go ba gore Angel Otshabeng, how did she do in her debut? Me gareng ga tsele wa ta lebella of course Ross Branch lene metshameko Betway Premiership metshameko ya Carabao Cup or the Spanish FA Cup me re lebelle jalo the FA Cup ka ko Emirates or rather the Emirates FA Cup ga mo go jalo le the NBA ke dingwe tse leng gore ta lebella mo mosong wa tsela go mpeko me le gale a ditsemelele ka go komela ka go ba le khotela Botswana Table Tennis Association ra go bitsana le manamisa mahoko ba le khotela o metse go fatswa malepa re tere uto jalo gore ba re ngwaga o LBTTA ba ikeletse gore ba dire eng ya ka ebile re bona nnile one of the first sporting codes gore ba ntsha jalo the calendar for the year 2025 Malepa, good morning, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Dumela miske ke betsa lo ba bogedi ba Botswana Television ga mogalo le ba repetsa ba motshameko wa Spailane
maetso le ba motshameko wa Spailane re bonye hela le sa dinako le re ntshetsa jalo calendar ya lona ya ngwaga wa 2025 gore le meme yang gongwe a ko o atatele Motswana go lapeng Malepa gore le BTTA ngwaga wa 2025 maikalelo magolo a lona keng as an association.
nka tlhalosa hela gore mo ngwageng o hitile re le lekgotla re ra ikelela gore rona ra go simolla gore re focus mo into the international tournament e be re tlogela yalo a di club gore ba dire yalo the local tournament ke tsone tse leng gore re lekile gore re se dire mo ngwageng wa gompieno mme tse leng gore ra go se dira hela re simolla ke gona go selecta our national team the senior national team maybe the junior team on re selectile yalo last year e le khanya na gore re tse re nne le nako ya gore re ba kanye team re lebetse gore this year is going to be packed gona le tournament tse le gore di teng gona le bo Africa Cup tse le gore di ka go bo Tunisia gona le yalo region 5 le one le gore ke tebele ka ko Namibia ke mo tse di tournament tse le gore di teng re ntse re se ka re le khotla gore a re ka bona madi a mantsi gore those international tournaments re ka di ya tsotlhe tse le gore tse di teng mo ngwageng wa gompieno mme se lengwe se gore ra go se dira ke gone gore di international tournaments re ntse re di organize di tsona tsa things assurance le so ra ntse ra go di tsedisa di nna teng yalo re ya ntse le gore tebe di organize ke BTTA tsona re di hukuditse e le one tsela gore re di club tsa rona re di empower gore le bone ba kgone gore ba nne mo seemo se ka tshwanang kana se le kana yalo le sa le khota re lebetse gore re bua ka di tournament tse le gore da sponsored last year one ba lekile yalo gone go dira yalo tsone di tournament 5 teams managed le go ipeno this coming year re le le gone gore re tsenye calendar of events tsa rona re boele ka ko maung re tsena ile le tlhakane bo mo sudile mo lepole ya lo re ska ra ikganela hela mo gaborone but is unfortunate gore botsa di club tsa rona da base mo gaborone that is why ka re di tournament ka bontsi tse bedile mo gaborone
so I was about to mention khanya maung ke bona gore malena jalo le the maung open the BTTA feeder series gore ke se le gore se le go thile le khota gore le iponeletswa jalo mo tropokgolo gaborone le jalo ko metseng e tshwarang jalo le ka ko maung e be bile re bua jalo ka the first event of the year gore enna jalo the senior national team selection
re na le team hala e leng gore e tetse ko maung mme be ke tlhalosa gape gore we are supposed to launch re ba bona ha maung ke le gore na le bana ba le over 50 ba ba mo developmenteng ke tsone tse ne re bona gore this year re se tournament re ise kwa ka gore last year ne re sa kgona gore re ka ya gone ka ko maung mme ne re batlile gore re tse ya tournament engwe re ise gone ka kwa mme we believe gore this year ra kgona gore re tse stopper sa lo tse leng gore ke other development team le tsone ba ye gone ka ko ba ye go compete le bone ba nne le yone tšhono ya gore ba ka tsaya karolo mo di-tournament tse e leng gore di teng mme in the first event ya ka ke tlhalose Miss Kane ka ra go select the national team e leng gore yone ga le ka ga re dirang ka teng ke gore the first kana rank 1 ke ene le gore automatically o tsena mo setlhopheng mme ba teng ba bararo ba setse bona ba go ipikaelo ba tsena mo setlhopheng ka go tshameka tournament le gore re re tshwaretse ka di 25 sa January ka go ba buisegolo ke tsone se e leng gore sa go diragala la re simolola ngwaga
Me Malepa se sengwe se motho a ka se ipotsang ke gone gore a jaanong ha re select the national team ngwaga o simolola gore a gore go na le batshameki ba ileng gore go motho a teng o tla thuthuntsha e re ka February ya ba winner tournament ene yaanong gongwe a sa tsena mo national teaming. Does it give the athletes an opportunity to add their own or to add themselves onto the national team in the future di tournament tse di international di se di simolola?
Emma ke sone se e leng gore ne re lekile gore last year ga re tswala ngwaga re dire ene communication le batshameki ba rona gore e re le ya Christmas le ya festiving e be le ipakanya le gore January hela re tlhoma ditlhako re tebe re simolla mme ha o ka lebella most of batshameki ba rona they had a good year re lebeletse di event tse le gore ne re tsetse ngwaga ka tsone so we believe gore they still have that momentum ona gore ba tswelle ba dire go tsala ka diata go ka tsena le mo the national team.
Me Malepa re le bogetse go buisana le wena mmaetsho ha tsatsi ene le molemo
ya le bogamiske
right re ne re Manam sa mahoko la khotela Botswana Table Tennis Association and Metso Fatso Malepa ha le bella January bana le the senior national team selection February gona le the Anghabe Open March bana le Smash Munich Open April is a Smash Botswana Open May bana le Maung Open June bana le BDF Open July bana le Botswana Open May August bana le Khatleng Open September bana jalo the Phoenix Assurance Independence finale May the October 30 25 motho ka re alo bana le dithuba ruba open go tsong go batla ba nna jalo le the Phoenix Assurance International Tournaments ke ka ha e leng gore calendar ya bone e ntse ka teng a re se go bone ro komele bo mmata ba bone in the sense that there is tennis in the code Botswana Tennis Association ba e leng gore stop sa monoga sa bana ba e leng gore ke the junior system jalo ka batshameki ba tshwana bo Malak Macheng Angel Chakanyuka re rotlhe kganyeng Tinashe Phatswane le bone tlape ke bangwe ba ileng gore ba emela mo bokatising kana mo ketello peleng ya ga Wellington Sebanda le ke le bogile monna yo ba le ba jalo ka ko Namibia o ka dira lo sapa seo sentse se le mo campaign go simoleng jalo ka di 5 to di 7 tsa kgwedi yone ya January ba le ba jalo ka kwa Namibia ba ya go tsanela kgaisano e leng gore ka yone e na le mahatshe a le lesome le bobedi merta bana jalo gore bana bao ba taira ka selense ya so go le bogolo le bila batshameki ba tshwana bo Malak Macheng o e leng gore ha le bella the rankings a le mo top 10 when you talk the juniors PTV Sport ene ba etetse go ya go utwa ka ha e leng gore ipankanyo ya bone kana kampa ya bone e tsamaile ka teng ya ka ba emela go le ba gone ka kwa lehatshe la Namibia.
Team ya rona ile compete go the ITF CAT individuals and teams championships for 14 and under and 16 and under. Tseleng go ditebe di tshwaretswe ko Windhoek Namibia from the 10th to the 18th sa January. The championship tsena ke di qualifiers for the teams tse tlebe di tswa mo Southern Africa gore mo tsa monyangwa di kgone go qualify the Africa Junior Championships it's a team event for 14 and under and then let's 16 and under and then for the under 14 category the idea is to also help to improve the rankings of bana ba rona gore ha ngwana reach the round tse dirileng in the individual event then we boost the African rankings and then how the tournament the Europe tour ngwana ba khona go selectwa for join that team then the team it's are comprised of 3 boys and 3 girls for the under 14 section and then 3 boys and 3 girls for the under 16 event. In Karwana we had a 3-day training camp and then just before the team left they had a pre-departure training campaign from the 5th to the 7th. Of recent past Madu Aruna Nasa Nameze Morokalo, but we've had a few good individual performances Yakabo Martin Seju Bani Vanzibao and then we also had Timia under 14. I want to thank Kiki the year before last. They never qualified the team competition under 14 in Hostilo Kotogo. The team is on in the top 3 so that they can qualify for the continental championships.
jalo mo go tsa tennis re komela jalo tsa squash ka mo tsela maabane re ne re bua ka Angel o tshabe o ka tsela re letse re bona mo tsetseng la maabane e le gore stapasa kana ke bua jalo ka St Florence bana ba fenya jalo William Smith College 6-3 mme re bonyalo ene Angel o tshabeng a latlhegelwa ke motshameko wa gagwe ya ka nna dira he debut mo the college squash motshameko e leng gore o na fengwa ke Reshika Rajaratnam o tswang ka kwa lehatshe la Malaysia motshameko o tsereng 40 minutes mo fenya jalo 3-2 11-6 7-11 11-9 4-11 11-5 that was the score motshameko ne ele wa ga Angel o tshabeng re tswa mo go Angel o tshabeng re tswa re siana le tse dingwe re belle jalo Ross Branch gore o ira ka tsela ntse jang ka kwa Dakar letse re mwana mo tsatsi la maabane Ross Branch a hetsa jalo on position 15. Yeah, I like the in the background.
We had a very tough stage yesterday. That was today. Yesterday's one was the longest route they've taken so far, and I'm pretty sure he must have had some technical issues. This is unlike him.
Navigation error.
Navigation error. Exactly.
Exactly. Never tell us the navigation error has on position 15. Motsila gumpieko bata batsana jalo mo stage 5 selong gore ba go tsama jalo 492 kilometers go tsweng ka Alula to Hill me bathalo a thalosa jalo ene Ross Branch. I'll be back better motsatsing la gumpieko ya ka batsana jalo mo stage 5. All we can say is that good luck cross for stage 5. Position 15 ota barra family hala re tsoma go Ross Branch re tswa le pele a re komele metshameko le tshameko ya jalo ele metshameko ya Betway Premiership ya kana go tshameka metshameko ele gare ga metshameko ya meraro ne tshamekiwa Cape Town City. Yes, they were laughing at Kaizer Chiefs for losing to Cape Town City on Sunday. It came to them. Orlando Pirates, bana ba latlhagela katanele Cape Town City ka no elengwe go le fela Kaizer Chiefs Makhosi. Nya let's say itikile Makhosi. They were celebrating 55 years on Tuesday, and the best present they got it yesterday. Ya ka ne ba fenya Stellenbosch ka no tse pedi go elengwe me motshameko mongwe no tshamekiwa o ka itsela gore ne re bona jalo stapasa AmaZulu go thata kwa AmaZulu motho a ka rialo bane ba fengwa ke sekhukhuni ba fenya jalo ka no ele tse pedi tota go le fela me ha le bella jalo gore motho a ka re loko ya bone ye me ka tselentsenya Orlando Pirates bana ba tshameka motshameko a bone the game in hand le gore ba ntse bana le yone ba go ba siewa ke stapasa Mamelodi Sundowns 3 points difference ke sone se leng go di diragala jalo ha o lebile yalo the Betway Premiership. Sundowns bana le 30 points, Orlando Pirates 27 points, Polokwane City 22 points, Sekhukhune bana jalo le 20 points, Amakhosi on position 5 bana le 18 points, Cape Town City bana jalo le 17 points, Stellenbosch 16 points, number 8 ke Passport United bana jalo le 16 points ke yone ka ha ile gore e mekateng the Betway Premiership. The Betway Premiership LB dikhantsedi monate mo continenteng ya Africa re letse re bona matsatsi la maabane the president wa lekgotla Confederation of African Football Patrice Motsepe a tlhalosa jalo gore CAF has decided to increase the CHAN tournament prize money by 75%. The winner of the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship kana CHAN ya ka re bitsa ye le gore tabetse re ditse ke la hatse la Kenya, Tanzania le Uganda batatsa jalo batatsa madi a oketsegileng ka 32%. ba tlhalosa jalo gore mo fenyo o tatsa madi a kana ka 3.5 USD million. Yes.
Well
unfortunately, Rana as a country, we are not participating. Goshan. We didn't even bother to play the qualifiers for CHAN.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just decided to take a decision. Yeah, we are not playing the qualifiers and we are not playing the tournament.
Right.
So,
which is unfortunate when you think about the fact that our zebras do need a lot of playtime in order to get ready for tournaments such as the AFCON qualifiers last year. And tournaments like CHAN, no matter how small people think they are, it's still an opportunity for you to meet some African nations, get some experience, you know, build that toughness. So it's disappointing. Me, draw ya iragala ka di 15. For those of us who care about African football, the 15th of January we will have the draw for the Chan, and we'll find out gore ga go kopana bo mang kae ba lwela ene 3.5 million.
Re ta lebella mahatsha mangwe mme le gala re tsoma go tsa channel re belle motshameko le mongwe le tsengwe tshameka mo tsela maabane le motshameko wa the Carabao Cup first leg. Semi-final number 2, Tottenham Hotspur bane ba fenya Liverpool ka no elengwe go lefela. Re ta bona gore second leg ya go tshameka ka di 6th of February ya go nna ka tselentse ja mo itse le gore first legs re bonye Stapasa Newcastle ba fenya Arsenal 2-0, Miss Spurs ba letse ba fenya Liverpool ka no elengwe go lefela. We are now becoming Manchester United, but anyway, let's carry on. So the FA Cup starting today, it's going to be played until Sunday.
Listen, I like the third round. You get to see a little bit of what's going on in English football when we talk about championship clubs, when we talk about the lower division clubs, and the system. So right now, more round 3. Manchester United versus Arsenal. But this is what you can look forward to. Thursday, the 8th of January, Sheffield United will play Cardiff. Everton meet with Peterborough, and Fulham play Watford. Yes.
Me ha re tso jala mo go tsa the Emirates the Spanish Cup ya ka motsila maabane Stapasa Barcelona ba letse ba Athletic Club ela thagelwa ke motshameko ba le go gae ka notse pedi go lefela. It's good to see Yamal in the score sheets after a while.
It's good to see. You know what, players have ups and downs, and I'm hoping that it's going to be an up for a little bit longer.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Right. Motshameko ya tswalla mo tsela gompieno go ikitse le Stapasa Real Madrid ba kopana jalo le Stapasa Mallorca ke yone motshameko ya tshameko ya the Spain Super Cup semi-finals. Me a re gare le ka go lebella jalo NBA basketball gore motshameko ya tshamekilwe mo makukung a tsela gompieno e emeyam ne re bona Van Nuggets bane ba fenya Clippers 126-103. Stapasa Trailblazers ba fenya jalo the Pelicans 119-100. Stapasa the Knicks, New York Knicks bane ba fenya the Raptors 112-98. Me Brooklyn Nets ne fengwa jalo ke Pistons 113-98. Motshameko le nong o le motona le clash of the leaders when you talk about the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. Inele motshameko wa Stapasa Cavaliers ya kana ba amogetse jalo Thunder Merbana the Cavaliers ba fenya motshameko 129-122. Mr. Pasa the Pacers bana ba fenya Chicago Bulls 129-113. 109-103 was the score between Philadelphia Sixers kammogo le Stapasa the Wizards. Motshameko o tsweletseng pele mongwe hela mo bogompieko ke motshameko wa Stapasa the Bucks ya ka ba etetswe jalo ke Spurs me o ka itse le Stapasa sa ga Jonas Antetokounmpo ba eteletse pele motshameko wa 93-81 in the fourth quarter e leng gore e setse jalo ka 10 minutes. Mo tsela ka moso motshameko e e taba e tswella pele ga go simolla hela around 2 a.m. Stapasa the Raptors bana le Cavaliers. Warriors ba tsa jalo the Pistons me Timberwolves batsa jalo major ka motshameko ntse tswela pele Rockets eta kopana jalo le Recusal me motshameko mongwe wa Trailblazers ba ta kopana le Stapasa the Mavericks. Miami Heat ba amogela jalo ba amogelwa tota ke Stapasa the Jazz ha the Hawks ba kopana jalo le the Suns. Los Angeles Lakers motshameko e leng gore o ka nna scanna teng ko no motshameko wa Stapasa Los Angeles Lakers ha ba kopana le Charlotte Hornets because of the fires tse leng gore di teng ka ko Los Angeles.
There's so many people whose homes are burning. It's so unfortunate. And I hope it's possible. I think for me, I hope the game goes forward and people can look forward to a basketball match.
Yeah, they will give an update NBA. Of course, that will be determined by the advices the Lakers the Hornets the 5:30 in the morning, but it to be cool for it to go on so that some of us can be able to watch
It's our draw and the loss.
I don't want to get in trouble
Mabano
with...
letsa ipokala magakologela. Ke ha bua gore he against Tottenham Hotspur team ya rona tota ya betsa e biletsa go thukupa.
Why is it
Ba le ba go ke ngwana o 18 years old mabane.
Asina ho halola the red card. I don't want to get in trouble with Bami and my director. Ba re kgogana ka tseleng tsinjalo mo go tsa metshameko re kopana le sena khante jana metselo semele bothano mo ra gana ko ya bosupa re tla ba re busana le Mark Nawa yo wa emela mo tsetsi la ka moso go le ba jalo ka ko USA ko le gore gone ko ta ba tsena school and of course playing his tennis arbe ka ha re tsoka ha le bua le na lady ba go lekolela semo sa parakano.
ADUMELA Botswana, the breakfast show. It is proudly sponsored by Botswana Post on a Thursday morning. LB, you had a question yesterday, but unfortunately, we wanted to talk a little bit about right.
Yes. For me, I neki putsa gore ha o emela because you see it's not something that's in our culture.
Yes.
A lot of people are very latecomers. Like being late for work is like, I was actually reading a research study that was done for the millennials, generation ya rona. Re dumela gore when you're 5 minutes late, you're on time. Right? But that's not the rule. The rule is 15 minutes early. You're on time, right?
And when you're on time, you're late.
Right. So, ke batla go tlhaloganya gore how o calculate that travel time ya gago. O dira jang gore mo lapeng ka nako? What time do you leave the house versus what time are you supposed to be at work?
I always overestimate my time, ne? Ke na le mathata a gore ka overestimate ke tebe ke ipoleletse gore ka go tsena ka nako ye e ke re nyame ke na le 5 minutes, but I think that's the thing, we don't have the construct of time in our culture gore re tlhaloganya nako sentle. So 5 minutes o emela ka nna 10 minutes nna 5 minutes
nna 5 minutes gore le ha o letsa motho ga go o mmolela gore
ke ta go letsa in 5 minutes.
I'm 5 minutes away. Me o itse hela gore it's not going to take you 5 minutes to get to where you're going.
But I made it a thing where this year I actually want to be, proactive in the sense that every time ke ready way before gore ke ska nna ke siana o kgona go ithola batho ba le mo ditseleng ba tshwantse go a ditiro mme ba kgona ile gone ba itatsa makeup o kgwetsa o tshwere kofi ya ga go hella o itshela
kana wa ja on top of the fact that we literally mongona a joke maloba re tabe re planela gore tsela e re buletse ka bore 5 minutes wa akanya gore no ha gona le ha ile ope mo tseleng di roboto di totsa madi mpulela gongwe le gongwe ha ke leng teng. And these are some of the things that lead to some of the accidents that happen on our roads, the overspeeding, the running of red lights, because we're not estimating the time properly. So mpolelle gore ha o e akanya wena time estimator, if I have to be at work at 5 a.m., what time should I leave the house?
It depends where you stay.
Okay. On a regular basis, let's say you live within the vicinity of your workplace, it's not more than a 10-minute drive.
I should at least leave 15 minutes to have allowance of anything that can happen. So I know we pay 5 minutes, in 5 minutes, give yourself another 5 minutes for things that you are not sure are going to happen. So just double the timing, and 2 minutes.
Of course. So maybe you live outside, you know it takes 45 minutes to get to work. You need to double that time and give yourself at least, an hour before you leave for work.
So let's try that this year.
Let's try that this year.
We take a little more time, extra time, to say that it's okay. And it's fine. Even if you arrive early, you are calm.
And they don't like being early because they don't like to wait. So this year, be patient. Let's wait for the program to start. Let's wait for nako gore chai. Re se ka ra emelwa rona o le late for meeting batho ya no ba setse ba le ba di watch ba ipotsa gore o kae LB.
Mindset change is what we're trying today. We're going to keep challenging you throughout the year. Go kopa gore o le ke sele go tokahatsa botshelo ba gago gore go nne botokanyana re o ntse tsena mo dilong tso di batang, and then you've developed good habits to get there. But of course, another good habit that we always encourage you is travel, especially in our country. Today we're going to learn more about birds, manong, vultures. We have a lot of types of vultures in Botswana, and we are known very much for the vast wildlife, the bird wildlife. I think we've got over 200, I
200
don't know,
species of
200
birds.
species, you know, of birds here alone. I think a lot of people do travel to just come see the birds. Just take a moment to learn about it, and you can actually go see it. So we are going to Manon today. Check this out.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Manon Game Lodge. Manon Game Lodge welcomes you.
Manon Game Lodge is a 100% Botswana owned lodge. It's situated 17 kilometers away from Lobatse, which is the Botswana meat hub, just along the E1 road to Ramatlabama. Manon Game Lodge is a flagship camp for Regent Group hotels, and it has been operating for some few years now, since 2017. But before then, we were a farm, I would say a cattle farm. But we saw it fit that we change from the cattle farm to game lodge. And then Manon Game Lodge is a conservation lodge, I would say, looking at the fact that anything that we have here, it's natural. We preserve nature. We preserve everything that we have around the game lodge. We offer a variety of activities, from your segways. We offer cycling. We do offer game drives. We do have guided walks. We have got obstacle courses and paintballs. With obstacle courses, the main reason for having that was to get people together. We have a lot of corporate or business travelers coming through for team buildings and all that. So it's a way of getting people together. Having to play with your co-workers or your workmates brings back that unity. If you want to, or if you're a leisure traveler and then you want to relax, rejuvenate, we've got our spas around here, which offer a variety of services in the spa. We've got 40 rooms in total, which 17 of them are executive rooms, and then we've got 10 king rooms, 2 family rooms, and tented or luxurious tents. Can do day visit. We do have day visitors coming through for swimming and enjoying the area around here. I think most of the people also like to be around here just because of the gardens and the vegetation on its own. So they feel relaxed when they are around here most of the time. We do have restaurants. Our restaurant have or offer Western and Tswana cuisine, which because we've got international travelers as well. So we just wanted to explore other areas of food. So having that in the lodge really helps a lot. Manon Game Lodge, welcomes almost everyone. It's either international or local. You're most welcome to visit us in Manon Game Lodge.
Re tswela ka thulaganyo ya rena ya Dumela Botswana the breakfast show. Mo puisanong ya rena ya ntlha mo mosong ono. This is purely for your safety. This is something that you need to learn about and educate yourself about because it may be something that you find yourself in khona go ikitlhala o na le yone phologolo ye in your vicinity, in your home. Eso gore itzile go loma kana itzile go attack, but it is an animal that is part of our nature, especially mo Botswana jana. So it's better to learn more about them, to understand them better, for us to better handle them. Please understand that viewers' discretion is advised, as we will have some videos and some pictures. And to take us through this conversation, we have the managing director of Snakes Consultants. Obviously, there's like 4 5 S's there. Aaron Tsatsi ke no tla o tlang ha go ruta tota ka dinoga le gore ha o setse o ithala ele mo lapeng kana ele mo ntlong ya gago o ka dira jang gore o itshireletse ke yone puisano ya rena ya mosono. Good morning, Mr. Tsatsi, how are you doing?
Dumela me.
Nditsogile erra ha re setse re bua yana go tenoga gore o setse ibile o batla go sia o setse o na le letshogo ke phologolo e tshabiwang thata mme wena o ithutile gore o di tshwara jang ibile how to better handle them ke tsela gore le gore o ithutile thata ka tsone o simolotse kae ibile gore ga gona gore o nne le yone Snake Consultants.
Emma, this started way back 2012. Tota ke simolotse ka 2006 ke santse ke le ko Botswana Defense Force. Ke simolotse ke nna le lorato la dinoga ka nako eo. And then ka ngwaga 2012 ke gone ga ke ya sekolong kwa Afrika Borwa ke a go ithutela go tshwara dinoga. Ke gone ha lorato la me lo simolla teng. Ile ka 2012 ke ne ka longwa ke noga go telle bolobolo. Ha ke sena go lumiwa ke noga go telle bolobolo ne ka roba diwa ko Princess Marina for about kgwedi. Ha ke sena gona ntse ke roba diwa ko Princess Marina. Ha ke tswa ko sepatela khane go di babonga ka batsa ya dikgato ka teng khane ke lumiwa ka teng ka bona gore ga go botlhokwa gore ke boele ko morago go gore ke tswelele ke dire thuto tsa dinoga ka gore ke ne ke bona gore go gongwe thuto ya tlhaela ka gore one of the questions tse tsa budiwa ha ntse ke tsweletse khone kwa ke gore a o lumile ke noga ke ngo saswa but ga se gore nako le nako ha noga e loma motho o tshwanetse go swa noga e ka go loma o bo tshela la ka tswa ile noga ena le botlhole e khona go loma e tsenya botlhole o bo tshela kana e go loma e sa tsenya botlhole mme le gone gore ha e betsentse botlhole go laolwa ke gore di gore nako eo go diragala e mo mmileng wa gago go diragala mo tikologong ya gago galang ha o tsena go sepatela ke tsone dio tse leng gore di laola loso ha o sena go lumiwa ke noga.
Mme hela re khona go ithala gore dinoga mo Botswana di dintsi bile di mehuta re ka bona dinoga di fe mo Botswana that is very common as we've said.
Emma le ha tsela Botswana le na le mehuta ya dinoga e le 58 masome a matlhano le boroba bobedi and out of 58 re na le dinoga di le lesome tse leng gore ha di loma di ka ba ka loso and then tse dingwe tse e be le gore di ka loma hela mme tsa ska tsa ba ka loso out of that 10 re na le noga e nngwe go teng black mamba e bidiwa mokwepa e be re na le noga e nngwe go teng Cape Cobra e bidiwa ka tjwa kgalagadi e be re na le noga e bidiwa le bolobolo e bidiwa the puff adder e be re na le the boomslang e bidiwang le gwere e be re na le the anchiata cobra ke gone le ntse discovery mo Botswana re se gore ne le lina la one la Setswana.
Okay.
And then we've got the stiletto snake le one ga ena le reo la Setswana. E be re na le the vine snake e bidiwa le gonyana and re na le the horned adder le one ga ise ke masika le bolobolo le one ga ise nne le reo la Setswana. And then re na le the snouted cobra e leng gore ke re bitsa le solamai. And then we've got the Mozambique spitting cobra ke ka ke yo khwamati.
Highly are they common more which are known as pythons? Are they common in Botswana?
Pythons are common in Botswana, but we reditsa jaaka di non-venomous snakes tse leng gore ga dina botlhole gore the constrictors ke tse di lomang hela di bola ka go tsopa.
All right. Jaanong kana re tsela ile lala a kopana le noga Obviously there are ways to identify a very venomous snake the right steps in terms of treatment. How do we better identify the snakes? How can we identify them?
Emma, tota mo mothong yo e leng gore ga ana thuto go dingalo tota gore a khone go harologanya no ge botlhole le senang botlhole go le gantsi re rotloetsa thata gore hela ha ile khanya gore o lumilwe ke noga o le melala o tsiana ra re ha o tsena go spatela ba bongaka at least ba tshwantse go baya go spatela for at least 24 hours ba santse ba lebeletse gore a di tla itshupa mo mmeleng wa gago because dinoga di eloma mo go harologaneng go teng gore noga e ka go loma ka gore di dirisa botlhole jo bo harologaneng go teng gore noga e ka go loma e be e tsenya botlhole e be go teng gore noga e ka go loma e be e sa tsenya botlhole ha re tsa sekai if you take a black mamba rather black mamba, for it to kill a person of my size, it has to inject something like 10 milligram of venom. And then that 10 milligram, and then it be dry bite. It's a thing about holy. Me when Hartana goes patala, everyone hore, Hone, Menoa Connehotsena Mohoen. Harlem or Menoa Connehotsena Mohoen, Mokole dry bite. That's why Babongaka at least about 24 hours most patel. Because Leo Nemole Modi Risuang, how Lumilokidino. It's not a guarantee a hormone mongo yolumia and Geno how to Adirusua Mole because Mole Modrisua Moba Tumbalumin Kidio, Ubido the antivenom. It has been made from venom moyano. So if you find no high hulumile dry bite and then it will inject you the antivenom. If the antivenom finds nothing to fight with in your body, it becomes venom. Okay. So babongaka at least you need to be hospitalized for 24 hours before being released because the kaitse dingwe mo dinoga tse dingwe ha o bua ka dinoga like the boom slang di tsalo ba ka go itshupa and then how for your information boom slang e tirela its own antivenom ga di harlogana ka ke bua gore ke supa gore di harlogana ka botlhole you'll find re na le dinoga tse di nang le botlhole jo bo amang boboko e be re na le dinoga tsa botlhole jo bo amang nama e be re na le dinoga tsa botlhole jo bo amang madi jano ha bontse yalo o buitlhala le gore ha re bua ka the boom slang it's the only snake its own antivenom. And then these other ones, the venomous, we tell the cover one venom, the polyvalent antivenom. So, can't you how local spatella and then hongo luena how inject to a antivenom. And then heights and mili be reactor anti. Babongaka batchance observer, and then if Babona or antivenom, they have to reverse antivenom and try some other antibiotics.
So there's ways to do it, but you need to go to the hospital and take the right steps while you're at the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. Ke tsala gore mme go na le dinoga tse reng di go lumile o bo tshwantse go bona gore nya mme e ne na le certain patterns kana ile malao and are there some of the things we can be aware of when we look at snakes gore re itse gore nya mme kampa na a very venomous snake kana hangwe hela it's a normal brown house snake ha ke kyang kama yalo mo go kana
Emma usually rona as snake handlers ha re biditse re tsena kwa gagago kgang ke gone gore ha re tsena kwa gagago go botsa gore ene le malamang behavior ya one gore le ha go bona ya dira jang like if you take cobras if they feel intimidated they'll raise up the head and spread the hood. So ke gone mo leng gore khantele ha o tsena kwa re go botsa gore ene ya dira jang mme gape le gone go spatela when you are at the hospital ka gore principle e dirisiwa mo Botswana ke gore kill the snake and bring the snake along with you to the hospital but motho wa ba sena nako yone ya go bola no ga gore a tla ka yone go spatela so re na le mo go the clinical management of a snake bite mo eleng gore gompieno ha o tsena go spatela if you are bitten by a neurotoxic bite snake go na le mo gore re go observe like gompieno re tla lebella matlho a gago you'll find gona le mo go the dropping eyelids mo eleng gore gompieno re tla be re bula matlho a gago for a certain period of time, there is an envenomation, and it's one of the neurotoxic bite snakes.
All right. So at least there are ways to identify it. All right. So rona re mo lapeng jaanong ke tsaela gore re ntse re bua gore go ntse go le dipula thata o no ntse mpela gore kana mekwapa ga go setse go le evergreen. That's where we find them a lot. King re ithala le gore go na le dinoga tse dintsi jaanong tse re di bonang mo malapeng a rona tse re ngwe ntse tsamaya tsamaya go kgona go bona why are they out, why are they all around and very easily to find now.
Emma mo biking tse pedi tse di hitile re itemogetse pulentsi ha re itemogela pulentsi diji le dijo tsa dinoga di nna dintsi because ya no dijo di abedile gongwe le gongwe le pule e khaenang ka teng e gogola dinoga mo mantlong a tsone, and then we will find dinoga di le ko mahelo a di iphitlhelang hela di le ko mind dinoga e khona go tshela go tsaya lobaka e le mo metsing metsi a sa e bola because snakes are good swimmers. And then e buitlhela le gore ha di gogola dinoga jalo mme gape apart from that dijo tsa tsone le tsone di dintsintsi you will find ntse go le tlala ntse re tshelela thata mo di heat waving mo le gore dinoga le tsone kana they don't have very good metabolism that regulates their body temperature. When it's too hot they'll go for shade, and when it's cold they'll bask in the sun. So ha go nna mo hot thata snakes they get more stressed mo le gore go tsoma mo go tsone go nna dingalo ya no o buitlhala le gore gompieno ha paka yana yana ya di favor e be le gore we find di khona gore di tsamaye a long way di batla di bona dijo tsa tsone gongwe le gongwe, and most of dijo tsa tsone o itlhala le gore di bonwa mo malapeng a rona.
Tla re tsana gone mo malapeng a rona. I want us to take us through the right ways to deal with the snake. Ta re simolole pele gore re irang re le batho gore ka baka dinoga mo malapeng a rona a gona le dilo tse re di irang tse di ka bakang gore dinoga e be dintsi di le dintsi mo jarateng kana re ka itlhala noga. What are some of the things we shouldn't do to make sure that we don't attract snakes to our homes?
Emma, poor housekeeping. Ha re le ko lapeng re na le gone gore re itebale o itlhala le gore motho mo malapeng a mangwe go itlhala e le tsela e tswang ko ya ko le bati e tswa ko le bati ya ko JT kana ya ko setlaganeng ko go apelwang teng no jarata e sa tlhagolwe. So ha go ntse yalo jarata ga go e hetoga boremelelo jwa dinoga.
I will thus interrogate the allegation in the context of the requirements imposed on the applicant as the person who alleges apprehension of bias, as well as through the assessment of the allegations themselves as they appear in the pleadings before court, more so in the founding affidavit. First, it is tried that the presumption of fairness must be dislodged by the applicant through cogent evidence. The word cogent is afforded the following meaning in the concise Oxford English Dictionary 11th edition, revised, quote, of an argument or case, clear, logical, and convincing, close quote. Before assessing what evidence has been placed before court to dislodge the presumption of partiality in this case, it helps to reference Moroka J's remarks in Maporisa versus the State, 2016 volume 3 BLR, page 32, a High Court decision to the effect that, and I quote, true impartiality does not require that the judge or magistrate have no sympathies or opinion. It requires that the judge nevertheless be free to entertain and act upon different points of view with an open mind. A judicial officer faced with an application for his or her recusal must of course afford it the same careful and studied consideration that he or she brings to bear in contentious matters between litigants. Since the application in a case of recusal is brought against the judicial officer in person, he or she may very well be inclined to bend over backwards so as to ensure that whatever decision is arrived at does justice not only between the applicant and the judicial officer, but also to the court and to the public which it serves. See Metropolitan Properties Company, FGC Ltd, versus Lannon and others, 1968, Volume 2, All England Law Reports, 304, CA, 1969, Volume 1, Queen's Bench 577. The presumption of impartiality carries considerable weight. Thus, reviewing courts have been hesitant to make a finding of bias or to perceive a reasonable apprehension of bias on the part of a trial officer in the absence of convincing evidence to that effect. Close quote. In casu, the applicant, who was not in my presence at the time it is alleged I sought to influence Mr. Rantau not to abandon the stay relief, informs the court that he was informed by his attorney, Dr. Jonas, about what transpired. Save for the generalized allegation that I sought to do so, there is no clear, logical, and convincing evidence pointing to how I did what I'm alleged to have done, what words or actions I used which could have led Dr. Jonas to perceive them as persuasion directed at Mr. Rantau not to abandon the stay relief. It is simply stated in the affidavit that I, quote, sought to persuade Attorney Rantau by calling upon him not to abandon the stay application, close quote. It is said Mr. Rantau cringed and looked unamused and uncomfortable owing to the suggestion that I made to him, which had the trappings of coaching him on how to conduct his client's case. The suggestion that Mr. Rantau reacted in the manner he is alleged to have done paints a picture of something very serious having been said or done by myself. From his words, Dr. Jonas observed everything, and to the extent that this application has been brought and these allegations made, it suggests that he used his full faculties on the day and at the time in question to fully inform himself on what transpired in my chambers. The allegations made against me, however, are not only bold, but the actions of Dr. Jonas and the applicant do not evince actions of people who reasonably apprehended any reasonable bias on my part as a result of what it is I am alleged to have done, and this is why. The meeting referred to was held in my chambers on Saturday afternoon, 4th January 2025. Following such meeting, I released the parties to go and prepare a draft scheduling order following discussions held in chambers relative to the filing of further and outstanding pleadings. The applicant, though not part of those who were in my chambers, was in court. Let me pause here to indicate that my narration of these facts is done in this ruling for the simple reason that such facts are common cause. In proceeding, surely the opportunity arose, more so when the matter was still fresh in the mind of Dr. Jonas, to not only inform the applicant of my perceived biased conduct, a conduct that evinced that, quote, all I desired was to see the applicant in prison, so it has been alleged, but to also advise him regarding seeking my recusal. I later, after a passage of reasonably long period of time, entered court for purposes of issuing the scheduling order. Having had the opportunity to speak to his client, the opportunity presented itself for Dr. Jonas on behalf of the applicant to raise the issue of their discomfort and disquiet with my behavior and or attitude. This they did not do. Thereafter, the applicant and he had a whole night to ponder over my alleged behavior and the morning of Sunday, 5th January 2025. The matter was next heard in open court on the afternoon of 5th January 2025. The applicant and his attorney once more had an opportunity to alert me in advance in chambers of their disquiet about my behavior and perceived bias, or even publicly in open court. They still did not. Rather, they submitted to my jurisdiction and the matter was fully argued. Thereafter, a day of 6th January 2025 passed without any action on the part of the applicant, only for him to abruptly file an urgent application a day before the ruling on the very matter he seeks my recusal in respect of was due to be delivered. It is paramount also to observe that applicant is conspicuously silent on when exactly his attorney informed him of my impugned behavior, and they have also not sought to explain the delay or inaction of 3 days when fully aware that the matter before me was an urgent one being dealt with speedily, and that they themselves have moved this very application on urgency. It thus behoved them, and this is tried, to disclose all reasons and circumstances, good and bad, that delayed them or prevented them from filing this application earlier than they have. See in this regard, Kosienso and others versus Sechele and others, 2002, Volume 2, BLR 344, a High Court decision per KBJ as he then was, at pages 345 to 346. It was argued by the applicant's attorney, Mr. Kole, in respect of his client's inaction that it is immaterial and that what is paramount is the fact that the recusal application was ultimately filed prior to this court completing the main application for an expedited appeal. Additionally, he contended that the delay was not inordinate. On this point, the applicant relied heavily on the South African case of Bennett versus Absa Bank Ltd, 2011, Volume 3, SA 9, page 92, a constitutional court decision, which case is merely persuasive. When Mr. Kole was referred to the cases of this court on the issue of delayed action or inaction, he sought to distinguish such local and binding decisions. The distinction, in my judgment, is a futile attempt to run away from the naked truth. In Popo versus the State, 2007, Volume 2, BLR, page 696, a Court of Appeal decision, a case where KBJ, as he then was, had refused to recuse himself in a matter that he initiated whilst the Attorney General, and which matter came before him after he ascended to the bench. In confirming the decision to refuse recusal, Lord Caulfield observed at pages 699 to 700 as follows, and I quote, "I would add 2 comments. Firstly, the accused were represented by 3 experienced criminal defense practitioners, and it apparently did not occur to any of them to raise the issue before the start of the trial, although they must all have been aware that the judge had previously held office as Attorney General, and when the motion was made, none of them opposed it. These circumstances do not suggest any suspicion of bias. On the contrary, they are eloquent of trust in the judge's judicial capacity. The motion for recusal was made as an afterthought, and after some highly incriminating evidence had been led. Secondly, it might well be arguable that the motion came too late, given the knowledge of the circumstances